All right. Hey, good morning to you. It's the first official day of fall, and man, life comes at us, doesn't it? Summer went like that, was gone, and I'm okay. I'm still going to the beach. I'm gonna do that all through the year, but I'm looking forward to cooler days, right? So we got that new fire pit out there, and I'm ready to use it. So far, all I've put was candles in there because it's too hot for a fire down here in the muggy south. But good days are coming. And so I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to the weekend. I got friends coming over, and we're going to be hanging out and doing some things like that. I've got a little 9-year-old friend, Henry, and he wants to get baptized. So we made our way over to his house yesterday and had dinner and chatted and talked with him. And it was such a refreshing thing to hear this little heart of a 9-year-old just begin to talk about his love for Jesus and what God was doing to him, and and it was just good and rich. And I love life. I love being with people. I love hearing stories. We had a great night last night, just sitting in a home with some good old friends, and just a great evening. And look forward to those things. And so here we are today, man. It's Thursday, and we're rocking and rolling. And man, yesterday I felt like our time here just flew by. And listen, if you're having a hard time trying to find us, because I'm not able to go to prepare in advance and make a notice of going live, there's something with my software, and Facebook changed some algorithms, so it's just created some issues. They're working on it on their end, so I'm not worried about it. We're just going to go live whenever we go live and figure it out, right? So anyway, we're in Romans chapter 9. We're going to do 9 and 10. Today, and I know you're thinking, man, we did 9 yesterday. No, we only partially did 9, and so the thought is, man, I'll just breeze through these 12 issues that he kind of lays out here, and I thought, man, I really just want this saturating my own life, and kind of drive it to the core. So the whole concept really deals with love in that sense, from different ways of doing things, and what that does, and so. Because this is a crucial piece, I think it's important that we slow down and just kind of look at that. I think we take love for granted too often, and I don't think we really evaluate our love and how we love others. We justify all sorts of things about love, where we give preference to this one and not to that one, and there's some conditions, and we talk in terms these days of, we don't, but the world does, boundaries and shutting people out and opening your doors, and it's just, and I don't mean to really mess with any of your thoughts on that, if whatever you got, but I just think those are not thoughts that we find in the scriptures, of I'm going to show love to these people, but not to these people. I'm going to let these people in my life, but not these people in my life. I know we have to be careful of those things, but I think, man, I feel like there's this overboard thing that's given people permission just to simply be selfish. And that in no way is in keeping with who God has called us to be. We are His people. Jesus didn't do that. He didn't set up the boundary kind of thing, and I think we should be very careful as we do that. So that's where we are. So let's just jump into it. And I'm going to remind you really quickly, right? God is so mercied and compassioned us that we have one response once we have submitted to His lordship and believed in our heart that God raised Jesus from the dead. We are to present our entire life, not a portion of it, not my Sunday life, not my Sunday Wednesday life, not my family life, not my life where I want to give to Him, but this is mine, all of it. It's all in, right? We're pushing all the chips to the middle of the table. God can have every area of my life. That's what it means to be a Christ follower. We act as though that's some process that we get to, right? That we start off little selfish Christians, and then we eventually give Him a little more and more. That is in no way anything what happens in the scriptures. It's just we give Him our life. Everything goes to Him. We should do what the woman whose sins He had greatly forgiven, who just barreled into a party, not worried about who was there or who wasn't, and just went straight to Jesus and just began to anoint His feet and all of that. That's an all-in procedure. It's like Zacchaeus. when when the Lord said, "Hey, I'm coming to your house to eat," and He does, and Zacchaeus becomes a believer that Jesus is the Messiah. And at that point, he's like, "Well, this money was silly what I've been doing. So if I've wronged anybody, man, I'm paying them back, extra fold, 10x it kind of thing, and I'm going to start giving away everything." Right? He's all in. You see that all the way through the scriptures. Paul interrupted his whole life. I'm all in. The disciples, all in. It's what you and me should be. So we give our whole life to Christ. And then we make sure that we don't let the world impinge and begin to crouch in on us so that we begin to go, maybe I'll put a toe back in that. No, we don't. Don't start chasing after the system of the world. Now, a lot of times, the church has taken that and it's created this Puritan model, or an exclusive where we just withdraw from the world. We're not to withdraw from the world. We're just not a part of the world. We are in the world. We're not of the world any longer. So I don't my traditions, my culture, my heritage. I'm not going to let the world dictate that. We're going to have a holy culture in our house. We're going to have a holy environment. We're going to do holy things in our house. We're going to do loving things, right? And so this is what we do. Doesn't matter whatever the world does. It doesn't matter. I don't listen to that. That's not the conductor of my life anymore. The world isn't the one that's telling me how I should sing and play life. I'm taking my directions from the King of Kings, right? So this is what it means to be all in. And so we looked at that. And then he says, and he comes into this place, and he says, love must be free from hypocrisy. The whole world plays fake love. The whole world does this plastic love. It's where you feel like it, but it's manipulative. They only do it because of something that they can get from you. I've seen that in my whole life in church, man. I've had people who thought I was the greatest thing in the world until I wasn't, for really silly reasons. And I'm like, man, this is weird. The church world is weird. You have people who love you, and you think, man, we're going to walk through life together. And then you turn around and you realize, man, they just stuck a knife in your back, twisted it, drug it up and down your back, and walked out on you. And you think, man, you didn't really love me. No, you didn't. And I'm honestly about that. You have to as well. That's me. I love everybody, but that's fake love. And he says, don't do that. Our love, what does he say? Love must be free from hypocrisy. That is fake love. That is pretend to play the man. It's a theatrical term, right? It's where I put on a mask and then I take it off when I leave you. I don't want that kind of love, and I don't want to be that kind of lover. And so you and me, we don't get to choose who we love and how we love. No fake love. Man, listen, I work at a stone company, and mostly I manage managers, but I've got about 32 employees that kind of all are under my care in some sense. And man, they all come from different seasons, stages of life. I got some old guys that work under me. I've got some really young guys. I've got people of different color. It's everywhere. Some have means, financially, and some don't. You know what I find though is that I'm drawn to all of them. I do. I've got some guys there that I love and would love to just go hang out with, and we have nothing in common other than we work in a stone company together. I mean, they are they're just totally two different worlds, and we should not. This guy can help me get somewhere. This one can't, right? Well, it's when we do things for people in Jesus' name, regardless of the cost or consequence to oneself. That's what love is. Love is doing something in Jesus' name, regardless of the cost or consequence to ourself. So it doesn't matter about what people think. Well, man, what are you doing hanging out with the dregs of society? What are you doing over there hanging out with those people? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Because it's what Jesus did, right? And so my love's it's not going to be fake. It's got to be real. I say that, and I'm not saying it doesn't drift into that, but I'm saying it can't be. There's no room for that. This is what he says. Let your love be free from hypocrisy. Everybody, you look into the eyes of whoever you look into, and they are loved by God. It doesn't matter whether they're on the extreme other end of some political place or they're not. Those people you love. You don't have to endorse anything about them, but you're going to love them, right? Because that's what Christ did. Even the rich young ruler, man, who came, what did Jesus do, man? He had compassion for him. Even though he was hoarding his money and he wasn't going to get rid of it. And when Jesus said, hey, man, you want to follow me? Go sell everything you got. Man, like, nah, I can't do that. right? Jesus was moved with compassion toward that man, right? So he wasn't a respecter of persons, and you and I can't be either. And so then he says this: detest what is evil. Now, there is a connection to that with love, but mostly right now he's talking about our love tank. And so he's saying, make sure your love tank isn't fake. And then the second thing he's saying is make sure it's not poisoned, that the well isn't poisoned. You start hanging out with the world, your love will be poisoned. That's what's going to happen. He says, so I need you to stop that. Detest what is evil. Remember I read to you yesterday Psalm 101, which David spoke of. And I don't want to read that up, but I do want to come to this. Listen to what the Lord says through Solomon in Proverbs. He says there are 6 things that the Lord hates, 7 that are an abomination to him. Haughty eyes, right? So listen, that's evil. Don't you be clinging to eyes that you think you're better than somebody, that you're looking down on somebody. Get rid of that evil. Your love is poisoned if you think you're better than someone else. And so this is a crucial piece. A lying tongue. Listen, don't let that poison you. Don't you drift into lying. That's Satan's game. He's the father of lies. And a lie is poison in your well. And if you start lying, you're not loving well. You cannot love well. You will have fake love if you do that. Hands that shed innocent blood. These are the things out of Proverbs, right? Where there's this thirst for revenge. Listen, if that's going on in your world, your love tank's poisoned. You don't pay back. You don't go, well, I'm going to give you love, and then, oh, you hurt my feelings, so I'm not. No, stop that. There's no place for it. These are the things that the Lord hates. A heart that devises wicked plans. Listen, if you've got impure motives and you're trying to finagle something out of somebody, and that's why you care for them, and that's why you love them, you're some of the worst kind of people on the planet. Stop it. And then he says, feet that run rapidly to evil. Got to be careful where you let your feet go. Because where your feet go, your mouth goes, your eyes go, your ears go. You're going to start hearing things you shouldn't hear, seeing things you shouldn't see, saying things you shouldn't say. And it's destructive. So you have to be careful where we go. And then he says a false witness who declares lies and one who spreads strife among the brothers. Listen, if you love this person, but yeah, you talk about that person when you're over here with this person, your love is messed up. And this is what he's saying when he speaks of that. Now, that was about as far as we got the other day, yesterday rather, in this text. And so we come back now to it, and he says, so one is no fake love. 2, don't let evil poison that well. The third thing is cleave to what is good. When he says cling to what is good, it's the same word he used when a man shall leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife, to cling to her. It's like super glue. He's like, man, when you find good, latch hold of it. Stick those talons in deep and just hang on to that. That's what he's saying. Cling to what is good. That's who God's called you and me to be. Listen to how Paul addresses this to the Philippians. He says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, that's good stuff, right? If it's true, cling to it. It doesn't matter if the whole world thinks you're an idiot. Cling to it. Listen, I believe that Jesus came, walked among us, lived a holy life, died on a cross, was resurrected on the 3rd day, and has come to give me life and has offered himself as a sacrifice to my sins. Listen, that's true. I'm clinging to that. I don't care what the world says. It's true. I'm clinging to what's true. I'm clinging to what's honorable, right? What is honorable? What is good and holy and useful? I'm going to cling to that. I'm going to cling to whatever's right. There is a right and there is a wrong. Contrary to what the whole world wants to do today, there is a right and there is a wrong. It's not as gray as everybody's trying to make it out to be, and that everybody's right and there's your truth and my truth and all this stuff. No, there is a right and there is a wrong, and I'm clinging to what's right. I don't care what the world says. Whatever's pure, clinging to that. Whatever's lovely, I'm clinging to that. Whatever is commendable, that is honorable, that God's going, hey, this is commendable, you should do this, I'm doing that. I'm going to enjoy a meal with my family because it's commendable to the Lord according to Proverbs, right? If there's any excellence or anything worthy of praise, I'm going to focus on those things. This is what he says, cleave to what is good. Listen, we're weak people, and you want to love well, and you say, okay, I'm done with the fake love. But man, you start drifting toward the world, it's going to taint you, and you're going to love different. And you have the option to cling to what's good and to pull in those things and hold on to that It's going to make your love excel. It's going to make it better. And so this is what he's called us to. Then we're just going to look at really one more section today, verse 10. He says, be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Now, devoted, interesting term there. It's different than what you would think it is. I think your version may say kindly affections, or maybe the King James does. It literally is kind of two words in some sense put together, loving love. It's a phileo storge. It's two words, and it really means lovingly love, right? That we are passionate. When you lovingly love something, that means that's what you would say, man, I am in love with that, or I am passionate about that, right? And so this is what he's saying. There is this, it's like double love. It's love and then insulated with more love, and you just created this web. You have encased people in this love. He says, be devoted. It's a passion. It's a natural affection that you have for. You're just drawn to people. Listen, Christ followers are people. If you're not a people person, you should check your whole life. That doesn't mean that you're an introvert. I don't mean all of that. It simply means that we have to have love for people. And so he says, be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Right? That's Philadelphios. That's brotherly love. It's a stronger love than the others. It's not quite agape, but it is a powerful, strong connection. It's a familia. It's family. Now, in our day and age, we seem to have shattered and fractured the family so much through divorce and hatred and lawsuits and embitterment and boundaries and all of that we have no idea what family is. But that's the one that God gave to you. Acts 16:27. God has appointed the exact times and places in which we should live and tribes. He gave us the people that he gave us. I should be devoted to those people. We should circle the wagons every time we can with our family and get together and huddle together and just enjoy being together. It's what we do. He says, be devoted to one another just like you are to your family. Now, it doesn't translate well in our society because we have destroyed the family. But we who are Christ followers, and we secure that family, and everybody is a safe haven. He says that's what the church should be like. That's what it should be like as you gather, that people should feel like they're coming home. Not because you fake it, not because you have the right bells and whistles in the right church and you put the right people in the hospitality group and all that. No, it's not something that's planned. It's something that is. And so when people walk in, they should feel a difference. It's amazing how many people, well, right now we do a house church, right? Because we are without a building and so we gather. We still gather, and we gather and sometimes it's a house full, sometimes it's not. But as we gather, people will say it just feels good to be here. There's something about this place. We've got this girl that traveled up here to take care of her cousin because she's got been going through some health issues, and so she's been coming. And she just sometimes she'll just show up at the door and she'll just want to come in and we pray and she'll cry and go, there's just every time I walk in here it feels like home kind of thing is what she's saying. And that's because there's real love in this place, right? And I'm not talking about me and Tam. I'm just saying that's the environment that you want to create in your world where people know you're safe. That's what brotherly love means. And then he says this, give preference to one another in honor. Listen, that's about good old-fashioned humility. People will never feel your love if it's not about them. You have to decide that they're more valuable than I am at this moment, that I will treat them that way. Doesn't mean they are, but it means I treat them that way. Listen, you go eat dinner with people and you go have coffee with somebody, and you keep pushing the conversation away from your world onto theirs, and they know it because you know it. Man, some of the most frustrating things in all the world is somebody didn't teach people how to have conversation where you don't just hold the ball the whole time. I used to tell my kids about playing pitch. If I hold the ball, we're not playing pitch. I've got the ball. And so in conversation, if I'm just holding the ball the whole time, we're not having conversation. It's a monologue, not a dialogue. And if everything's about me, then we're not engaging together. There's a mutual love thing that's happening. And so when we get with people, we should always be more focused on them then they on us. And then they should give us that same opportunity. But right now, I want us to see this: give preference to one another in honor. Quit trying to posture yourself to get ahead of somebody or whatever. Open the door. Let somebody else go in first. This is the whole concept of that: is to give preference, to go, hey, you're valuable. I want you to go in. Right? You're valuable. I want to hear your story. You're valuable. I want to give this cherished thing to you. This is what it means, and this is, man, this is propelling me to a whole new way of thought, just drifting through this book of Romans. And so this is where we are. This is what we're talking about. And can't wait to share more of it with you in the morning. Man, Lord bless you guys. Have a good one, and I will see you soon.